Nvidia absolutely smashed earnings with a 78% sales growth, and the stock after hours is up about 2.5%. But I'm gonna show you in this video what I'm thinking about earnings and how my position actually has slightly changed for trading Nvidia. So we're gonna dive into it. Now, before we do, make sure to hit the thumbs up button to get this YouTube video promoted in the algorithm. I greatly appreciate it. Also, if you want to make six figures trading, that'll be in the first link down below in the description, as well as if you want my free trade ideas, that'll be on my Instagram and or my free newsletter in the two links down below as well. Now let's jump into Nvidia, okay? We're trading at 134.49, about 2.45% up after hours. I thought that Nvidia was going to be closer to $140 after hours, especially beating earnings with such on a positive note. If we look into the earnings, this is exactly what happened, okay? They reported fourth quarter earnings, and the company's revenue in the quarter rose 78%, okay? For the full fiscal year, revenue grew 114% to 130 billion. Now, if we scroll down, we could see the revenue expected was 38 billion, and they outperformed at 39.33 billion. Earnings per share, the expected was 0.84, so 84 cents per share, and they hit 89 cents per share. So Nvidia smashed earnings. They had amazing earnings, and really the stock is not only being kind of depressed down because of the overall markets kind of tanking, and we'll get into that, but also because the expectations on Nvidia are still a lot higher than I expected, okay? Obviously the market is not taking it as a complete blowout earnings, and the stock's up at 152 after hours, but we'll see how the stock opens up in the morning. I think it's one of those situations where people are waiting, okay, who's gonna step in first? And I think going forward, I'm going to be trading Nvidia differently because this is the third earnings that has happened to where they are showing absolute amazing growth. Their Blackwell chips, they can't even fulfill the orders because there's so much demand. And then the stock is not quite pumping up as high as expected, okay? So if we take a look, Nvidia reported 73% gross margins in the quarter. That is absolutely insane. Like, what other company out there is doing 73% gross margins, right? So absolutely amazing. If we go to the end of this, actually, where I do see the growth coming in for Nvidia is from a category that isn't talked about much, right? One of the company's growth categories is its business selling chips for cars and robots, all right? I think humanoid robots will kind of be the next play for AI, all right? Nvidia said on Wednesday that it had 570 million in automotive sales during the quarter, which is a small fraction of the company's AI business, but represents a 103% rise on a year-over-year basis, okay? Obviously, the gaming sector did decrease. They haven't sold as much graphic processors for gaming, but that's one of the smaller sectors too for them. So really what's weighing on the stock as well going forward is the tariffs. We don't know if Trump is actually going to move forward on these potential tariffs on chips, right? Nvidia, all of their chips are made by Taiwan Semiconductor. So the chips are imported into the US. So there would be a 25% tariffs on the chips if he does go forward with that, which I hope he doesn't. But if he does, obviously Nvidia will see that in their earnings, okay? Obviously the DeepSeek thing came out. We're kind of over that. I'm really not worried about that because a lot of Chinese firms are actually ordering more Nvidia chips because of the DeepSeek news, right? So yeah, overall, I'm bullish on Nvidia, but right now we do have to see based on the overall market, okay? So if we look at QQQ, we had kind of an indecisive candle right here, a doji candle. We're near the lower Bollinger Band on QQQ. We're near the oversold line on the RSI, but the market hasn't quite rebounded. Now, if we do see a rebound in the market, I would expect Nvidia to be above 140. We'll get to that in just a moment. The VIX, kind of the same thing, right? We had a spike yesterday in the VIX all the way up to 2150, which is not super high considering some of these high growth stocks are down like 20, 30%. But we kind of saw an indecisive candle here, but I do expect the VIX, if tomorrow we get a nice rally in QQQ, we will see the VIX go down, and then optimism will kind of go forward, all right? And if we do see that, what I expect on NVIDIA is that NVIDIA will blast past this 140 area, okay? We need to get above this 141 area. We briefly breached it back on February 18th, on Tuesday last week, but we do need to get back above that. And I think once we get it back above that, we will start trending higher. So with all of this kind of tariffs news potentially affecting NVIDIA, expectations just being unrealistically high by investors for NVIDIA, despite them having amazing earnings, I do see that NVIDIA will have more of a slower growth on the chart, okay? So I do expect this trend line right here to kind of be more consistent for NVIDIA instead of us spiking up to 160 bucks to 180 bucks like I thought we were going to do a few months ago. I think we're going to be following more of a slower growth path on NVIDIA. Does that mean that this stock should not be traded or invested in? No, this stock has extremely rich premiums. That's why I will be trading more options on it, but I won't be buying as much options on NVIDIA going forward, okay? So if we go into the positions, you can see that, we have shares, we have 200 shares. I have a covered call at 143. Was hoping to get these called away, but I guess not, which is fine. That's totally fine. I'll own the shares. But I do have some leaps, and these leaps have been underwater for the past, I bought these at the beginning of January. So these have been underwater for almost a couple months now, all right? Because we haven't seen that explosive growth in NVIDIA. So going forward, I will wait for these. Obviously, I'll hold these like synthetic stock. I'm just gonna wait. I have 296 days left, so plenty of time. I'll wait for these to start be at a slight profit, and then I will close these out, okay? What I will be doing going forward is only selling cash secured puts on NVIDIA. We could squeeze out anywhere from 3 to 5% on cash secured puts. Right now would be a great time, okay? Tomorrow we're gonna spike up to 134, maybe even 138 to 140 if the VIX goes down, okay? And if QQQ goes up. Now, if we have another indecisive day on QQQ, you could expect that NVIDIA is probably going to trend back down to this 130 area. We're probably just going to trade sideways from here. NVIDIA is already kind of beat up. They had great earnings, but the market is just weighing on them. So you could expect it to trade sideways if the market does underperform tomorrow going into the week. All right, but I'm not expecting that. I am expecting some sort of a turnaround in the next day or two. And if that happens, I think NVIDIA will be somewhere around 140, okay? So with that being said, tomorrow would be a good day to get into some cash secured puts that are safe and far enough away from the stock to collect income, but also not get assigned if you don't want to get assigned, okay? So I would just go out to March 28th, and really you could get pretty far away. I have the 127s, which are paying out quite a bit, but I would do anywhere from 30 to 34 delta, right? 122 to 125 is a safe strike. If you go to NVIDIA, right, we'll just take this right here. 125 is going to be right here, right, kind of where the support right there is. So that's far enough away, right? If you wanted to get down to 122, that's going to be even further away, which would be a nice area to get in as well, okay? So if we go to the options, let's kind of calculate how much we can collect on these. So let's just say we wanted to be safe and go to that 29 delta 122 strike. We'd collect 530 bucks divided by 122, right? And in about 30 days, you're gonna make 4.3%, okay? That is super safe, like very good return. If you wanted to even be safer, if you're good with 3%, you could get all the way down to like the 25 delta, maybe even the 24 delta. Let's go to the 118 strike and see how much that's paying. So 410 divided by 118, that's gonna be 3.5%, okay? 3.5% is pretty good. You're getting all the way down to 118, which is down here, okay? So that's far away, and that's kind of where that long-term trend line is. So if you wanted to be extra safe on NVIDIA, you wanna collect income every month, this, I believe, is the perfect stock to do it on, because we've been range bound for the last, since last June. I've made tens of thousands of dollars on NVIDIA. In fact, this month right here, I made like 50 grand, okay? But because we've been range bound, The options premiums are so rich on Nvidia. This is actually the best stock to trade cash secured puts on and covered calls because we're just kind of trading in a range. This is great. So if we continue to do this for longer or we go slightly up, that's going to be even better for the wheel strategy, which is what I implement. So I plan on continuing to keep this at a safe 10% of the portfolio. Right now, I believe I'm a little bit heavier. Yeah, we're a little over 10%. So we're closer to 15%. So I plan on just keeping this position consistent. Nvidia is consistent. The earnings always beat. They're selling more chips. Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, they all plan on spending more on data centers and everything like that. So I don't see Nvidia being obsolete or going down anytime soon. In fact, if we look at the PE ratio, we could see that currently it's at 51. But after today's earnings, the PE ratio will most likely be a lot lower. So this is a high growth company in the AI space, and the earnings per share is very, very good. PE ratio, very, very good. So I do continue planning on holding and trading this particular stock. So I hope you enjoyed this little update. Obviously, my position has kind of changed. I'm not doing leaps as much. Sure, if we do tank like 25% like we did back in August, and I see that opportunity again, I will participate in leaps, but I'm definitely not buying leaps right now. This is not the time to buy leaps on Nvidia. You must wait for this lower Bollinger Band situation for us to hit the lower Bollinger Band because time works against you, and it's better just to collect 3 to 5%, not be greedy, sell the cash secured puts on Nvidia, and make your monthly income. So I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next update video, which will be on Friday.